Okay. In previous videos, we have discussed your pre-fertilization event, fertilization event, as well as post-fertilization events. What happens in post-fertilization events? There will be formation of your zygote followed by embryogenesis. Okay. Now, once this fertilization has taken place, what happens? The other accessory walls of your flower, like your sepals and petals, fall down. If you are talking about your ovule, which is present inside the ovary, it is converted into your seed. And if you are talking about ovary, the ovary gets converted into your fruit, and fruit wall is called as your pericarp. However, in some fruits you can see sepals also. Say for example, if you are talking about your strawberries, if you are talking about your tomatoes, the green color portion which is present are nothing but your sepals, that is your calyx. Okay, so these are all post fertilization changes which occurs in your flowering plant. Now we have understood sexual reproduction. The final product of sexual reproduction in angiospermic plant, flowering plant, is to obtain seed. We very well know that this seed is formed inside the fruit, of course, right? So if you are talking about angiospermic plants, so in angiospermic plants, your ovule is not naked like in that of your gymnosperm. Your ovules are covered by ovary, so of course your seeds are going to form inside your fruit, right? So your seeds are going to form inside your fruit. As I said, seed is final product of sexual reproduction. यही purpose होता है plants में to produce seeds. Why? Because seeds ensures continuity of that plant, continuity of that species, generation after generation. Now if we are talking about seed consists of main three things, that is your seed coat. आप सभी ने देखा है सीड कोट कैसा होता है, राइट? देन इज योर कॉटिलिडन एंड देन इज योर ऑफ कोर्स एम्ब्रियो एक्सिस. Once again, your seed consists of three main things. Number one is your seed coat, second one is your cotyledon, and third one is your embryo axis that we have discussed earlier. That is nothing but your radicle and plumule, which going to give rise to your root system and shoot system respectively. Now if you are talking about this seed coat, we people have understood integuments. What is integuments? Integuments are nothing but covering of ovule. ऐसा ही कुछ बोला था मैंने, right? So this covering of ovule को बोला मैंने integument, and this integument after fertilization, post fertilization, hardens to form a tough protective layers, जिसको आप बोलो seed coat. जिसको आप क्या बोलो? seed coat. Okay, this seed we have understood in your class 11. If you are talking about your dicot seed, it is having two layers surrounding it, that is outer testa and inner tegument. These two layers are nothing but two integuments. We are talking about bitegemic ovule. What is bitegemic ovule? Which have two integuments. अगर एक integument है तो unitegemic. If there is no integument, no covering at all, so that type of ovule is said as ategemic ovule. Here we are focusing on this too, right? So this integuments of ovule hardens to form a protective covering, जिसको आप बोलो seed coat, which is called as your seed coat. And अगर आपको पता हो तो this portion is your micropyle. क्या बोला था? Micropyle, right? So this micropyle remains as a small pore. It remains as a small pore in seed coat. छोटा सा ओपनिंग होता है सीड्स में, आप देख सकते हो घर पे, राइट? उसको आप बोलो माइक्रोफाइल. एंड व्हाट इज द पर्पस फॉर दिस? Through this pore there occurs exchange, entry of oxygen and water at the time of seed germination. At the time of seed germination, ये जो micropyle होता है, small pore which is present on your seed coat, इसके through there occurs entry of oxygen and water, right, at the time of seed germination. At the time of seed germination. तो ये क्या बात करी हमने about your seed coat. Now let us talk about your cotyledons. Now depending on plant, whether it is dicot or monocot, there will be presence of 2 cotyledons and 1 cotyledon respectively. मतलब dicotyledon है तो 2 cotyledons हो गए. If it is monocot plant, there will be presence of 1 cotyledon. And look, generally ये जो cotyledons होते हैं, they are thick and they are swollen due to storage of food reserve. मैंने आपको बोला था, what is the purpose of cotyledon? It acts as your reserve food material, right, which plays an important role for supplying nutrition at the time of seed germination. Okay, so if you are talking about cotyledons, either 2 or 1, they are generally thick and they are swollen due to storage of food reserve. And embryo axis we have discussed earlier, that is radicle and plumule. Okay, now mature seed may be albuminous or non-albuminous. Now what is this? If we are talking about endosperm, we very well know that endosperm is a nutritive tissue which is utilized by developing embryo. Now, if this endosperm is totally consumed by developing embryo or during embryo development, right? Matlab there is no residual endosperm left. This endosperm is totally consumed during embryo development. So such type of seeds are called as non-albuminous seed. उसको आप non-endospermic seed भी बोल सकते हो, और it is also called as ex-albuminous seed. Okay. Once again, if endosperm is totally consumed during embryo development, such seeds are non-endospermic, non-albuminous, ex-albuminous seed. Say for example are your pea and groundnut. Pea and groundnut are example of your non-endospermic seed. If during embryo development some portion of endosperm is left, in the sense endosperm is not completely utilized by developing embryo, such seeds are called as endospermic seeds, or they are also called as your albuminous seed, right? Example for the same are your wheat, castor, barley, maize and many more, but this example you need to memorize. Once again, कौन से example बोले मैंने यहाँ पे आपको? barley, castor, wheat and maize. Now this definition is very important, right? इस बार बोर्ड में पूछी गई थी ये, that is your perisperm. We very well know that nucellus. What is nucellus? Once again go back to megasporangium. क्या पढ़ा था हमने? This is your ovule, that is your integument leaving behind a micropyle, and the tissue which is present inside the inside the ovule, इसको क्या बोला था हमने? nucellus. इसको क्या बोला था हमने? nucellus, of which there will be differentiation of one megaspore mother cell. ये हमने already पढ़ा है, right? Now in some seed, after attaining maturity, there is presence of remnants of nucellus. वैसे this gets degenerated, right? लेकिन कुछ seeds होते हैं. Say for example, if you are talking about your black pepper and beet, ये दो example you need to memorize. Black pepper and beet, these two seeds have remnant of nucellus, जिसको बोला जाता है perisperm. So what is perisperm? Perisperm is nothing but remnant of nucellus, which is seen in case of your black pepper and beet. Okay, we very well know that after fertilization, your ovule gets converted into seed, and so your ovaries are converted into fruit. The fruit wall is called as pericarp. This we already know, right? जो फ्रूट वॉल होती है उसको आप क्या बोलते हो, पेरिकार्प. नाउ फ्रूट्स कैन बी क्लासिफाइड इनटू टू कैटेगरीज, दैट इज fleshy fruit and dry fruit. Okay, here you just need to memorize the example. If we are talking about dry fruits, the example for the same are your groundnut, mustard and many more, etc. But these two example you need to memorize. If you are talking about fleshy fruit, example for the same are your mango, guava, oranges and many more, right? So these are the type of fruits, that is dry fruit and fleshy fruit. Again, fruit depending on development, whether they are developed from ovary or from region other than ovary, your fruits are classified into two categories, that is true fruit and false fruit. If we are talking about true fruits, तो these fruits are developed from ovary. जो fruits ovary से develop होते हैं, that fruits are called as true fruits. Whereas if we are talking about your false fruits, तो these fruits are developed from region other than ovary. From region other than ovary. One such example I have plotted over here. If fruit of some species are formed from a region called thalamus. We have understood what is thalamus. The swollen portion, उसको आप क्या बोलते हो, thalamus. So if thalamus is involved in formation of fruits, say for in case of your strawberries, your apple and your cashew, ये तीन example you have to memorize. Strawberry, apple and cashew, such type of fruits are called as false fruit. So ये false fruit कहाँ से develop होते हैं? One such example I have plotted from thalamus as seen in case of your apple, cashew and strawberry. One more type of fruit is there, that is called as your parthenocarpic fruit. ये भी आपने पढ़ा है. What is parthenocarpy? Here fruits are developed without fertilization. Most important thing in parthenocarpic fruits, ये fruits कैसे होते हैं? These fruits are developed without fertilization in the sense यहाँ पे there is no fusion of male gamete and female gamete. Here without fertilization fruit is developed. One such example I have given over here is योर बनाना. यहाँ पे जो सारे एग्जाम्पल है वो आपको बाय हार्ट करने हैं, राइट? सो पार्थेनोकार्पिक फ्रूट एग्जाम्पल मैंने आपको बताया, बनाना. नाउ दिस process can be induced by using your growth hormones that we have already understood in your class 11. Plant growth hormones, plant growth regulators like your auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins, right? Apart from this, we are having your ethylene and abscisic acid. So by using this growth hormones, one can promote a process called as parthenocarpy, which results in formation of seedless fruits. देखो fertilization ही नहीं हो रहा है तो यहाँ पे there will be no formation of seed. So one can promote, one can induce parthenocarpy by using your plant growth hormones, and here the product, the fruit which you are going to get are seedless. तो ये हो गया आपका जनरल डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ योर फ्रूट्स, ड्राई फ्रूट, फ्रेशी फ्रूट, ट्रू फ्रूट, false fruit and parthenocarpic fruit. Okay, this seeds if you are talking about, so these seeds have better adaptive strategies for dispersal to new habitat. Once again, they are having better adaptive strategy in the sense if they are dispersed to some new habitat, so they can adapt well. They can adapt well in that new habitat. So they are having better strategies for dispersal to new habitat. सीड के पास होता है सीड कोट, एंड द पर्पस ऑफ सीड कोट इज टू प्रोवाइड प्रोटेक्शन to young embryo. The purpose of this seed coat is to provide protection to young embryo. As such, they are hard in nature. This seed, we very well know that, is product of sexual reproduction, and thus it shows genetic variability which leads to variation and finally evolution. Once again, आपको पता है ये सीड जो है वो प्रोडक्ट है किसका? सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन का. So in this there is genetic combination. In this क्या होगा? There is new genetic combination which is responsible for variation and finally धीरे 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 it leads to evolution. Okay, now most important thing I have highlighted in red color, that is dehydration and dormancy. Most important thing, we very well know that as seed matures it loses its water. Even though the seed is dry, but seed have 10 to 15% of moisture by mass. Okay. So dehydration मतलब loss of water and dormancy मतलब inactive period. Dehydration and dormancy are most crucial event for storage of seeds. बहुत ही important है ये. Dehydration and dormancy, once again I am repeating here, dehydration मतलब पूरा पानी लॉस नहीं हो जाता. Even though seed looks dry, कोई भी सीड में there is presence of 10 to 15% moisture by mass. So come back to this. If you are talking about dehydration and dormancy, so these two steps are very crucial for storage of food, right? साल भर के लिए मम्मी आपकी गेहूं, चोखा, राइस, वीट वो स्टोर करके रखती है. वो क्या है? इट इज नथिंग बट सीड्स, राइट? सो फॉर स्टोरेज ऑफ सीड्स विच कैन बी यूज्ड थ्रू आउट ईयर, पूरे साल आप वो यूज करते हो, राइट? एज वेल एज टू रेज क्रॉप्स इन द नेक्स्ट सीजन. नेक्स्ट सीजन में जो क्रॉप आने वाले हैं वो कहाँ से आएंगे? इफ यू आर गोइंग टू सॉ सीड, राइट? सो वंस अगेन crucial events मैंने आपको क्या बोला? That is dehydration and dormancy. These are very important for storage of seeds which we are using throughout year as a food, as well as to grow new crops in next season. So this point is very important. Now let's talk about for how longer these seeds are viable. For how longer duration, for how longer time these seeds are viable. So if you're talking about some seeds belonging to some species, so they loses viability within 1 month. They loses viability within 1 month, and there are many seeds of many species who are viable for hundreds and hundreds of years, which are viable for hundreds of years. Two such examples are given in your NCERT that you need to memorize right now. One is your lupine. One is your lupine, जिसका scientific name है Lupinus arcticus. The scientific name is Lupinus arcticus, and this इसके जो seeds है, these seeds are oldest viable seed. Oldest viable seed in the sense they germinated and flowers after 10,000 years of dormancy. मतलब they are inactive for 10,000 years. Once they are sown, they grow and produces flowers. So this is oldest viable seed. Most important point मैंने आपको बोला, oldest viable seed are of lupine, that is your Lupinus arcticus. Of course they are obtained during excavation. During excavation from Arctic tundra, ये भी आपको याद रखना है. They are obtained from Arctic tundra, and these seeds germinated after 10,000 years of dormancy. Another such example is of your date palm, that is your Phoenix dactylifera. Date palm, that is your Phoenix dactylifera. This is obtained during excavation from King Herod Palace near Dead Sea. ये आपको याद रखना है. It is obtained during excavation of your King Herod's Palace near Dead Sea, and this is 2000 year old viable seeds. 2000-year-old viable seed. So again, this is very important. Two crucial steps, that is dehydration and your dormancy, is very important for storage of seeds. And two such example, right? One is one of your lupine which germinated after 10,000 year, and one is of your date palm which germinated after your 2000 year. So this two example you have to memorize, and of course their scientific name, that is your Lupinus arcticus, and here is your Phoenix dactylifera. Okay, if you are looking at the structure of fruits, so do fruits have one seed or it may have many seeds, right? That again depends on type of fruits. If you are talking about certain plants, right? So in certain plants, fruits have many tiny seeds. Okay, many seeds are present in a single fruit. Example over here which I have mentioned, you have to memorize. That are your, number one is your orchid fruit. एक फ्रूट में बहुत सारे सीड्स होते हैं. टू मोर एग्जाम्पल इज रिटन, दैट बिलोंग्स टू योर parasitic species, that is your striga and orobanche. Your orobanche and your striga are parasitic species. And one more example you have to memorize over here is of your ficus. So here I have plotted example of some plants whose fruit contains thousands of tiny seeds. Four such example you have to memorize. Number one is your orchid, two parasitic species, that is your orobanche and striga, and one more, a very huge ficus tree whose fruits have thousands and thousands of tiny seeds. So this is all about your seed. I hope you people have understood it well.